Good evening, friends. So welcome to this session of upGrad abroad. So today we are going to discuss and interact on a very important element of overseas education. Yes, we're talking about SOP. So what is SOP? SOP is all about statement of purpose, right? So why it is so important? Where do you need it? Why universities are expecting? And is it so important SOP can help me for visa acceptance or maybe a visa rejection? Yes, it is. So we'll have discussion everything on all about SOP, right? So let's understand that yes, overseas education, if I talk about, we are talking about the few good universities of the globe. When I talk about good universities of the globe, there are few things which are very important from the university point of view and the student point of view. We are not only talking about the good academics, right? But then apart from academics, I'll be requiring a holistic profile. Now, what is a holistic profile? Holistic profile is all about, we are talking about not only my academics, but also I will be talking about my experience. I'll be talking about my research paper. I'll be talking about my experience. I'll be talking about my internship. I'll be talking about my certification, my rewards, my clothes, or whatever good is with me, right? So this all is included in a concept called as SOP, that is statement of purpose. My dear friend, yes, we have seen that one of the best country of the world, which is #1 economy of the world, that is US. Yes, we require SOP to a large state in US because many of the top universities of the US gives you, that is, accept your acceptance, accept your application or rejects it on the basis of SOP. So that becomes very important for all of us to discuss this important element, that is SOP. Right. So as discussed, what is SOP? It is more about an integral part of your international admission process. While your academic certification quantify your credential, and SOP gives university a glimpse into your personality and helps them gauge your interest and strength. Because as I have discussed you, we are not talking about an academician. We are not talking about only academics. We are talking about an holistic personality. And my dear friend, SOP is also called as letter of intent or a research statement. It introduces your interest and experience to the admission committee, right? So why do universities ask SOP? Because now this SOP helps colleges and universities to decide if the applicants are really interested in the program they had applied for, their ability to pursue the program and completing it successfully, and whether they'll be able to contribute significantly to the institute. So this is very important because if I'm a good brand, if I'm a good university, maybe I'm talking about the Ivy League colleges, or maybe I'm talking about a good university like University of State Arizona. Now this all will see that whatever students are coming to us, are they going to significantly contribute to the university also? So for that, SOP is very important for me, right? So the SOP portrays the most significant impression of yourself to the admission officers. So what it tells? It tells your attitude, your ambition, your clarity of thought, and your personality, and carries the potential of leveraging low GPA or average test score. Now, what do you mean by this? I'll give you a classical example. Now, let's assume that University of Arizona has the minimum percentage criteria of 60%. I have got 59%. Now, in this 59%, am I eligible? Yes, I may be eligible if I am having a good SOP. Now, this good SOP talks about my personality. It talks about my attitude, my ambition, my clarity of thought. So in this way, yes, a good SOP can help you even if you have a slightly lower GPA and even average test score. Now, this could be GRE. Now, we take one more example. Now, assuming that one of the good university in US requires, say, hypothetically, 310 score of GRE out of 340, and I've got 301, but I've got an exceptionally well SOP. right? So in that case, probably who have got someone 310 but has got a lesser SOP quality, I'll be given a more preference than him. So yes, SOP is something which carries a lot of edge as compared to, somehow it even outsees, your GPA and your average test scores of GRE, GMAT. Now for SAT, that is for bachelor's, we don't talk about SOP, we talk about essay, right? So why do you need the SOP? So the question is, why universities require the SOP? Number one, SOP now is a mandatory requirement in the application process of most universities abroad, right? And specifically, if I talk about US, in US, we are talking of around 5,000 universities and colleges. Normally when I say and I go for my training program, I always say that ek taraf US or ek taraf sari dunya, right? So SOP is mandatory requirement in almost all the best universities of the US. The university needs a candidate to clearly state why he or she is interested to come to its campus and study a specific course. As I've told you, many of the good universities always have, more of demand, right? Many students want to join this, and many a time its conversion ratio is just few percentage, like 1, 2, or 5%. So in that case, it becomes very important for the university to understand why the student wants to come to the university. Now, not all the universities can invest their time and efforts in conducting face-to-face interviews. So, gone are the days previously we used to have the interviews by 5, 7, 10 years back. But then slowly, now SOP is getting the more important even as compared to interviews of the deans and all. It doesn't mean that after interview nahi hoga. Maybe few universities can take your interview also. But then many a time SOP has, outperformed or carries more weightage than your even interviews. And while your, standardized test like GRE or GMAT or English proficiency test like IELTS or TOEFL, score shows how your aptitude and skills are, but SOP shows your intent. And believe me, for overseas education, for visa, it is more important to show your intent, not just your academic qualification. So that makes SOP as one of the most important component for the overseas education. Right. So what are the specific requirements? Point number one, generally it is being assumed that SOP should be for 1,000 words, right? But then it depends on university to university. But then generally we go for 900 to 1,000 words for SOP, that is statement of purpose. The SOP should present a true mirror image of the candidate in front of the university's admission committee, right? You have to show your true picture, who you are, what is your academic profile, and other things that we are going to discuss in the subsequent slides. So basically, it's the true mirror image of the candidate. The SOP needs to cater to the specific university and a specific course option. Now, one of the problem which I have seen, in student is what they do is आप एक SOP बनाते हैं, उसको cut copy paste करते हैं. My dear friend, that is not acceptable. So what you have to do, your SOP needs to be a specific. It needs to be specific for the specific university and for a specific course. So it needs to be more of a tailor-made SOP for an individual university and course also. And it needs to clearly state your qualification and motivation behind applying to a set course in the university of your choice, right? So it's not only important that I would like to go. So my will and my academic qualification is not only important, but I have to clearly state why do I want to go for a specific university. Let's talk about yeshiva universities, which we have a tie-up. So Yeshiva University wants that. Why do you want to go for a Yeshiva University? Why do you want to go for a course called as data analytics and visualization in Yeshiva universities? So in this way, you need to clearly state what is the motive behind joining the university or the course. So this is all about the components of good SOP. So what does the good SOP include? It starts with personal background. Now, what is personal background? It talks about your family, whether your family is of a business or your parents are of job. It doesn't mean, कि मैं ये लिखूंगा कि my sister is being married to someone else. That is not important. So this is what I talk about my father. That is, we're talking about basically the income of the family. Financial background, so personal background and financial background, they both linked with each other, and they try to talk about the financial viability of the student. right? Then immediate and long-term goals. What is my immediate goal, which is of 1 or 2 year, and what is my long-term goal, maybe of 7 to 10 years? But in that case, मैं ऐसा कभी भी नहीं लिखूंगा that I would like to, get a permanent residency of that country. No, I'm talking about what is my career goal, what is my aspiration, what do I want to do, right? This all comes under your immediate and long-term. Academic details. So it talks about, what was your graduation, what was your 12th, what was your internship, or maybe what was your favorite subject, what is your specialization. So this is all about academic details and how much you have scored in that academic details. And fortunately, if somehow you can, correlate your interests and hobbies with the subject, it will be exceptionally well. So it includes academic details, interest, and hobbies. It also includes professional experience. Now, you will tell me that, sir, I am a final year student. मेरे पास professional experience कहाँ से आएगा? So don't worry, my dear friend. Whatever you have done in your internship, if you have any experience of NGO, like, maybe you are secretary of a Rotaract club or a Lions club, or you have done something for the society, but provided that is in black and white, that can also be shown as an experience, right? It can be your internship, it can be, something related to the corporate world. So part-time, full-time, or the voluntary experience can also be shown as your professional experience, right? Even, whatever you have studied in a certification, like for example, we have seen that nowadays many of us are doing many courses. Maybe I'm doing a Python course, I'm doing a basic course of business analytics. This all can also come under my academic details. And the next point is, why do you wish or why do you want to, go on a particular field, particular study, or maybe why a particular university? So these things needs to be clarified about why do I want to go for a particular university like Yeshiva University? Why do I want to go for data analytics and visualization? This all needs to be also stated clearly. It also talks about your extracurricular activities. It is all about any certification, maybe in singing or whatever. You have got the best personality award in the college, or maybe you are the president of some organization or something. So this all talks about your extracurricular activities. A very important point, that is research, right? So have you done any research or publication that is in national or international journals? That also needs to be said. So overall, if you understand, we are talking about a holistic personality. I am not only talking about my academics, I'm talking about my interest, hobbies, my family, my immediate goal, my long-term goal. Why do I want to go for a particular country, maybe a US? Why do I want to go for a particular university, maybe a Yeshiva University? Why do I want to go for a particular course? Maybe I'm talking about data analytics and visualization. My extracurricular activities also includes my certification, my accolades, my whatever. So everything which is related to me can be stated in SOP, but that has to be on a professional ground. So this is all about SOP, which gives an idea about the holistic personality of the student. So how to improve the SOP? So this was enough of theory, but then my dear friend, I know you have joined not for understanding theory, but then now we'll be talking about how can I improve my SOP. So what we'll be doing is we'll be taking few cases, right? अगर ऐसा मुझे लिखना है, how it is possible for me to write in a more professional manner. So let's take an example. Right now, this is what I'm talking about, my experience. Now many of you must have done some experience in some NGO, right? So how do you write? Generally the students write, during my engineering days I helped a local NGO by joining as a maths tutor, where I taught basic maths concept to school children, right? So this states कि आपने NGO में you have worked something and you have helped children for their studies, but it is not a complete information. It doesn't tell for how many months you have worked, for which grade of student you have taught, for which organization you have worked, and what have you feel or thought about it. So it will be better that rather than this statement, if I go for something like this, so what I'll write is, during my second year of engineering, I joined Teach Math, a local NGO, where I was a part of the maths tutoring team. For a period of 10 months, I taught basic maths like algebra, geometry, and arithmetic to more than 30 fifth and 6th grade students. And every single student I taught to secured an A in math that year. So this is the outcome of your input, right? That also needs to be there. And I have never been prouder in my life. So in this way, a good SOP talks about the holistic thing. Now, this is not something wrong, but then, my dear friend, this normal can be written in such a beautiful words which will describe everything about you, what you have done, what was that name, how many months, which subject, which standard, what was the outcome. So in this way, my point is, whatever or whenever you write it, you need to have a holistic thing in your mind so that it becomes easier for the university representative or the dean of that college to understand about yourself. Right. So this is the first case wherein we have tried to understand how our experience or NGO. So this could be related to your internship. You can say that maybe, I have worked for Delhi Rail Metro as, some intern in some department, Now this could be written in a more appropriate manner. Like I have worked under the guidance of this in this month, my main profile was this, and my outcome was this. So in this way, SOP has to be written. Now let's move to case number 2. Now, case number 2, what it says, it talks about the field of study I have chosen. So what I say, I'm very passionate about the field of study I have chosen. Fair enough. Are passionate hai, that is the reason you have joined some course. But then the important thing is when I talk about SOP, it has to be in the form of storytelling. I need to know and express, I have to express myself. So how do I express now myself? So what I say, so no, I'm talking about a mechanical, right? So I have pursued my mechanical engineering and probably, so I need to go into that field. So how do I write? So my grandfather was a car mechanic. I remember when I was 9, he took me to his garage for the first time and showed me how he could repair my damaged bicycle so I could ride it again. When he passed away a few years later, he left me the entire garage. It was a turning point in my life. Some of my best days were spent inside the garage where after coming back from school, I tried fixing various appliances in the house. That was what led me to choose to be a mechanical engineering. So in this way, I'm trying to correlate my area of interest, why I have chosen a specific field. So believe me, when I try to correlate this with a story, right, it actually helps you. Right. So this is how the SOP has to be written. So this is case number 2, wherein I'm trying to understand how my field of study can be chosen. Right. So this is very important for all of you guys to write like this. Now we go to the case number 3, wherein I'm talking about why I would like to select a particular university. So somebody says that I'm impressed by the importance your university gives to research. So I'm a research oriented personality and I'll give more emphasis on research. So that is the reason your university gives more importance to research, and that's the reason I'd like to join your university. Or I would like to study here because you have 100 PhDs and 20 Nobel Prize winners as staff members. But this could be written in a more emphasized manner. And how does it say? It says, I especially want to study under Dr. Mark Adams, PhD, as I have been an avid follower and admirer of his work in the field of X field, which is not only the field I would choose for my research study, but also is a topic that I'm zealous about personally. I'd be more than honored if I can earn a spot in his research group. So in this way, I will be more specific about why I would like to go for university. But let's take an example. I can write something like this. I'm very much impressed by the, I'm very much impressed by the placement or of the company. So how do I write the better SOP? I'll write that I'm very much impressed by the alumni who are working in the organization. I see myself looking at them that one day after 3 or 5 years, I also be listed in such a way in the alumni list. Right. So in this way, you have to draft your SOP so that it becomes more meaningful. It should be more complete. It should be more holistic view, which can help the university rep or the dean of the college to understand more about yourself. Right. Now, One more case we are trying to understand, because nowadays we all know that yes, management has become a passion for everything. Everyone wants to go for management learning and education. So want to excel my career in the field of management studies. Nothing wrong in this, right? But then can it be written in a more meaningful way, a more better way? Yes. So it is written as, since my childhood, I was very much inclined towards pursuing my future career in the field of business management. But in doing so, it was necessary to me acquiring professional expertise in the same field. So firstly, I opted business subject at bachelor's level so that I could have a sound understanding of the fundamentals of business field. And now to take my existing knowledge to a new height and to acquire applied skill in the field of business management, want to pursue a master's degree in business. So in this way, now I've written completely, like since my childhood, I was passionate about the business. I was passionate about the management studies. And this is what I see my career as. So these are the different cases which help me to understand how do I write SOP. I hope it is very clear to all of you. So SOP is not a simple English or a grammatical English or something, a statement. It is more about your personality. It talks more about your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. Right? I hope it makes sense to understand what are different cases, and it can really help you write better SOP. Right. So can we help you? Yes, we are there as an upgrade abroad to help you. So we can help you. Why? Because we have a team of professional SOP writers who can help you draft that particular SOP. We can help you create a lasting first impression, because yes, here also first impression is the last impression in the minds of university admission committee, with a strong, precise and professional SOP. Our team, through its years of experience, knows how to match a candidate's profile to that with the course university requirement. Now, this is very important. See, if I'm applying to a US university, it has to be a different SOP. I'm applying to a UK university, it has to be a different SOP. Or even in the same university, I'm applying for business analytics and data analytics. It needs to be of a different SOP. So please, friends, understand this. It's a different, altogether different game. So our skilled SOP writers know the kind of language and vocabulary required for the perfect SOP. And so you don't need to worry, as your team, our team takes care of this for you. So we'll be there to help you for writing one of the best SOP, which can help you to achieve your dream of getting admission in the top universities of the world. So let's have a summarization of what we discuss and what we try to understand. So what is an SOP template? So we're talking about introduction. It talks about introduce your academic field of interest. It write about why this course interests you. You also write about what you want to do in this course and during your stay. Background. Background talks about your information about your school, college, your exposure in terms of industrial, academic, training and professional qualities that you have. You can also talk about your extracurricular experiences and experience whatever you have gathered. Why this course? So I talk about curriculum, I talk about skill development, I talk about what I have done, why do I want to go for this course, the reason for this and all. Career goals, yes, career goals. Right. So career goals. So must specify the career goals that is you wish to achieve after completing this course. And this could be a glimpse of your long-term, short-term goals, right? That can also be included. Why this university? It talks about what is the reason you're liking or you're liking to go for this university. You will talk about specifying of how the course guidance and exposure and also. And when I talk about conclusion, it talks about sum up in a paragraph everything that you have written so far, engage them in the final lines of your SOP, and do not mention financial assistance or any sort of assistance during the course of your stay. It has to be very clear in terms of sum up in a paragraph everything that you have written and engage them in the final, lines of your SOP. So yes, more or less, when I talk about a complete SOP, it is all about how do you state yourself in a perfect manner. So this is all about SOP template, right? So Now we are coming to the last slide before we go for question and answers, right? So we are talking about what are the specific do's and don'ts of SOPs, right? So the do's of SOP talks about your SOP should be smooth, right? It should read smoothly, right? It should mention academic background, articulate goals and interest well, use active voice and a positive tone, check for grammatical mistake twice, don't go for this grammatical mistake, be consistent, honest and straightforward, right? हमारी भाषा में बहुत ज्यादा फेकोफाई नहीं करना है, बी वेरी अप्रोप्रिएट, राइट? एंड प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, आप जो भी बोलना चाह रहे हैं, एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी डॉक्यूमेंटेड, इट हैज टू बी इन ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट. सो व्हाटएवर यू राइट अबाउट योर एक्सपीरियंस, योर इंटर्नशिप, योर सर्टिफिकेशन, व्हाटएवर, it has to have in black and white. So be truthful to yourself. So the don'ts of SOP is do not exceed the word limit. So when I say it is somewhere 800 to 1000 word, it has to be around 1000 words, not more than that. Do not use the same SOP for all. है ना? जैसे I've described you, it should not be even same, not for the same university. Do not mention the scores of your IELTS, GRE and all. And a very important thing, avoid repetition or plagiarism. Now, what is plagiarism? We all know that plagiarism is when, we have a plagiarism software. Don't go for the Indian mentality of cut, copy and paste. You have to write your own SAP in your own language, because ultimately, my dear friend, when I talk about SOP, it is more about myself. How can I copy someone else's SOP? It's not possible. So when I'm a dean of the college and if I'm seeing that, you have copied it from someone else's copies, how am I going to accept you? So let's do SWOT analysis about ourselves. Let's understand why I'm going to a particular country, a university and a course. Let's articulate that in a wonderful and exceptionally good manner. Then only it makes sense to go for a good SOP. Right. So my dear friend, right, more or less, when I talk about SOP, we have cleared so many things about SOP. Now before we come to the question and answer, right, we always say so if one of the someone has asked about do not use the same SOP for all. Yes, it means that even if I am applying for a single university, multiple courses, it cannot be a repetitive SOP. It has to be a different SOP about my hobby and interest. So please understand this, right? Let's take an example. I am going for a university which is a research based university. There my statistic SOP is not going to help you, right? And if some university is more of a statistic, there my sports will help me rather than research. So in this way, I need to understand what is the preference of that university. In a simpler language, when I'll give a very simple example, right? Do I wear the same dress if I go for a subah ka birthday party or a lunch party or a raat ka reception or a DJ party? No, not at all, right? So when I cannot have the same clothes in a party, because I understand afternoon ka party alag hota hai, night ka party alag hota hai. So how a SOP can be a common for all the universities or maybe for all the course, right? Should mention backlog in SOP, sir? Yes, thoda sa, diplomatically we have to write and we have to talk about backlog, because अगर आप बिल्कुल backlog नहीं बताएंगे तो वो गलत हो जाएगा, right? लेकिन अगर backlog थोड़े से ज्यादा है, you cannot write that I have got 15 backlogs, right? It's going to dent your image, right? So it has to be very diplomatic that I've got a few backlog, but that were covered subsequently in the same year. So in this way, I can talk and I can cover about backlog also, right? So how can we check plagiarism? So Shivangi, I'll tell you, if you write by your own, there is no need to check your plagiarism. But then there are few free softwares which are available, and there are few paid software. But if you go with some professional one, like somebody from like us, we have the paid software wherein we like to check and we check that whether this has been plagiarism or not. But then if you write on your own words, see, SOP is not something wherein maybe likhne baithta hu, in 1 hour I can write it. It takes maybe 1 day, 2 day or 3 days, because you are going to summarize about what you have done, what you are going to do and what is your future. right? And we're talking about an international education. So we need to be very professional when I draft and when I talk about SOP. So if someone want to go abroad by education loan, where will I write? Is it negative for visa? See, instead of writing that I'll be going for complete loan, you can write that we have a few budget kept assigned for it, and maybe for few percentage I have to go for education loan, right? So you cannot write that completely 100% I'll be going for education loan, because unfortunately universities want the candidates which have financial viability, right? So that also is an important point, right? Okay, so yes, says that, sir, I want to develop only SOP for visa application. So it is possible in your company, my dear friend. So for only for visa, we don't have SOP, but then we have a program called as booster program, which includes our IELTS preparation, SOP writing, and it helps you to understand what is academic writing. It helps you, even to not just helping you to write the SOP, but also we teach you how to write it, so that it becomes easier for you when you appear for the interview. So you can contact with our counselors also, right? So we need to mention our job experience journey. If you have gap of 1 year in between two jobs, so we can do for that. See, if it is a pandemic period, there is no issue, there is no problem of gap. See, a gap of 1 year is always acceptable. And if you were studying something, then once in there is no problem. If you don't have anything to write, then it becomes a gap, and then only we can call it as a gap. But if it is a year of 20, 21, 22, rather, there is no problem about gap, because pandemic is has given us so many benefits also. So one of the benefit of pandemic is it can be a blanket no issue for 1.5 year of gap, right? So somebody has written, I have done my 3 years BSc in biotechnology. I want to do my MS biotechnology from Germany. Am I eligible? See, yes, you may get few courses in biotechnology from Germany. Yes, you can get it. And it's not always there to go for 3 years course, but then yes, if you talk about public universities in Germany, they generally expect to have 4 years of graduation, and private university can help you for that also, right? Somebody's asking, if we change our course for that, for master, will it affect? See, if somehow you can link your course, I'll give an example. If I have done a mechanical engineering and now I would like to go for data analytics, it's not a big problem, because in mechanical engineering I have learned a concept called as statistics, right? I have a background of computational, so in that case it is acceptable. If but then if someone have done BCom and now he wants to go for computer science, MSc in computer science, or some data science course, then it becomes difficult, right? So that needs to be justified. So you need to understand, there's a river and you have to cross it. So how are you going to cross it? You need a bridge, right? So that bridge has to be in the form of some certification or some relevant qualification, or maybe a relevant experience also. So this is how we try to develop or make the bridge, so that it becomes more logical, right? So how to justify work gap due to personal issues, got married and moved to Belgium and could not find job due to language constraint. See, if it is of 6 months, 1 year, then it's not the issue, my dear friend. But then if it is more than that, then told us it is going to be a problem. But then definitely we can have a one-to-one session so that we can help you in that also, right? Anyways, so as I've described, many a times, gap always not the problem, provided you can justify it. If I don't have much to add in extra curriculum, will it be okay? Yes, it is okay, but then the good universities always expects you to have some extra curriculum. So what I'll expect you is, you can now also you can make up, you can study something, you can go for something which is relevant to the future qualification. And that is the reason, we in upgrad abroad go for a blended course, wherein the part of the course has been done in India, and while the student is learning online in India, he can make up his SOP. He can do something which can be written in the SOP. So that way we can really help you. Right. So Harry asked, right, I want to apply for Canada immigration. I'm applying for visa SOP. I'm working in a mechanical engineering firm. So should I mention below in my visa SOP? Should I mention what I did and my job and responsibilities at my job? Should I mention future? See, of course, when I talk about immigration, see, more or less we're talking about the academics SOP, but then in immigration also, you need to write about what you have done, right? And the more important is you'll be writing about how your professionalism or experience can help in the economic development of that country, right? So you can highlight few points which are the good about you, and you can write off your job also. Great. What if we don't have any internship experience during bachelor? Then how, like, I'm going to be in the third year, but I'm pursuing my bachelor from one of the best college of India. See, that's exceptionally well, Kanika, that you're doing your bachelor from SRCC. But still, as you're in the final year, still I'll expect and I'll suggest you to go for internship. It could be even a 15 days or a 1 month of internship, but that internship can differentiate you from the others, because this is all about, we talk about experiential learning, we're talking about the applied learning, and that is must if I talk about overseas education. Sir, how to express an SOP about 10 years gap from UG completion in order to pursue master? Provided you have the experience of 10 years, then there is no problem. So you can write for this 10 years, you have worked in some companies and this were your main achievements. Like maybe you've joined as an executive and maybe in 3 years you've been promoted as a manager. And maybe after 7 or 8 years, you are heading that particular unit of that company. So in this way, you can show your professional achievements, then that can be managed, provided you have in black and white the complete experience of 10 years. Sir, I've been interested in Ivy League University in the USA and they wanted to inquire if Upgrad has any connection with the same. See, for Ivy League universities, no consultant or the company in India have direct connections, right? Because they don't give consultancy for this Ivy League colleges. But then not for Ivy League college, but for few of the best universities of the world, yes, we can definitely help you. And we have a specialized booster program for this, which can help you for the complete SOP makeover, and also, helping you to understand what is expected in a good profile, right? So that can be discussed. Right. Purvesh asked about how do I differentiate my SOP for the same course, Master of Professional Accounting in different universities. See, I'll give you a classical example. When I go for a job, I first try to look at the job specification, right? And according to job specification, I tailored and custom my resume, right? The same way, you need to understand the university. Is the university more of an research based, or the university is a more of an applied learning or some extracurricular activities? So in this way, you have to custom or tailor made your SOP. See, let's take a very simple example, right? We know that our mothers prepare food for ourselves, right? But then she understand, agar bacha jab chota hota hai, baby chota hota hai, what she does is she try to make the food in a different manner, jahan par ki she don't go for mirch masala and all that stuff. That the same thing with SOP. You need to understand, what is the expectation that the university wants from you, and accordingly I need to write. That's why we say that it's a skill. It cannot be a 1 hour concept, my dear friend. So you can write different as an accountant in different universities, depending upon which universities you like to go. Is there any age limit to pursue bachelor's in US or UK or Australia? Yes, there are few limitations, and few universities don't accept it, few universities can accept it. But then yes, we can definitely help you with few years of gap for Germany. We have a tie-up with one of the university in Germany wherein we can help you for bachelor. So you can register yourself in our website. Definitely our counselor will help you. Harry once again said, should I mention that future of this course will provide this much jobs in future, studying facts like according to Niti Aayog? No, I don't think that is more important. You can just say that yes, I have a bright future. I think it's a bright future because the economy or the development expect this type of skills, and that is the reason I would like to learn this type of skills. What if I don't have certificate for the extracurricular activities I have done? See, my dear friend, when I talk about SOP of the overseas education, everything has to be in black and white. If you cannot produce, there is nothing to write, right? So it has to be, I mean, everything has to be written, right? So, sir, after 12th, I took admission for BBA, but then I was lost between the things I was learning and what I wanted to learn. So after first year, I dropped out. I had a gap of 1 year, and now I am approaching the studies I want to do. Am I eligible? Would I be accepted? थोड़ा सा difficult होता है because all universities don't accept you, but then we have a tie-up with one or two universities wherein we can definitely help you. So you can be in touch with our counselor. They'll definitely help you for that. Right. So my profile is very good. I have a lot of activities, internship, and additional courses. I'm having trouble consisting my SOP to 700 to 15 words. Could you please give me some tip on this? See, as I've told you, an average it has to be somewhere 1,000 words. It doesn't mean it has to be full stop of 1,000. It can be 950, it can be 1,050 or 1,100. So you need to understand what is more relevant for you. Can you use few words in vocabulary which make more sense instead of writing full statement, right? So I mean, you need to be more professional in your approach so that in 1,000 words, and 1,000 words is not less, it's too much. So in 1,000 words, you can easily write about yourself. So you need to be more selective in terms of your words and your preference. Right. I'm going for masters in SCI in Germany, so my SOP should be in German language. No, no, not at all. You're not supposed to write your SOP in German language. You can write in English, right? Yes, but then many universities in German, especially if it's a public university, they expect you to learn Germany, but that doesn't mean that you have to write your SOP in German. Sir, I had 5 backlogs because of medical reasons, but I cleared them all later. Do I need to provide a affidavit from the college, or just medical document will work? Medical document work, there is no issue, right? You can say that I've got few backlogs because of medical reasons. You even don't need to clarify that it was 5 backlogs. It's fine. Sir, is it essentially required to submit a certificate for voluntary service experience? Yes, because how do I mean, as a university delegate or maybe a dean of the college, how do I trust you? So I need that you need to submit or give me some proof. Then only, I can accept it. So is there any template that is to be used for LOR and SOP, or simply we can type on a white plain paper? See, in the your presentation, I've told you this is what the template is. So it starts with your introduction, right? Then it has the background that you have to write. Then you have to write why this course. Then you have to write career goals, why this university, and conclusion. So there's some, I mean, it's not a rigid type of template, but then yes, you need to follow, maintain decorum, and you have to introduce yourself and all this stuff, and accordingly, then you can write. Great. So my dear friend, it was really nice to interact with you. I've really enjoyed talking with you, and I was very happy to answer many of the questions. But maybe because of lack of time, if you could not answer all the questions, you can get back to us. You can, just I mean, visit our website. It'll be more helpful to you. If you want any help for overseas education, you can get help from our counselors. We are, I'll just highlight one thing. When I talk about overseas education, I take so many counseling. I must have taken more than 1,000 counseling. So I realize that yes, overseas education is a costly affair. And understanding this, we have come up with a concept called as accelerator program. Now, what is this accelerator program all about? It is all about, it is blended learning, wherein, part of the course you do in India, and part of the course will be doing, in that particular country. But you'll be getting all the benefits of that particular country, maybe part-time work or the work permit visa or whatever you want, right? So we really help you to save almost, 40 to 45% of your cost. And we help you from end-to-end visa assistance, right from your free counseling to selection of a country, to selection of a university, to selection of a course, applying yourself in the university, getting yourself offer letter, then helping you for the IELTS preparation, then maybe, helping you for the financial assistance, planning finance, We have a tie-up with few banks, we can help you for that. And finally, we help you for visa also, right? So yes, we'll be helping you end to end. Our dream is to make sure that yes, we will help you in achieving your dream or your aspiration of getting admission in the top universities of the world, and that too at a quite affordable cost, right? So that's our dedication and commitment from our side. So do we have more questions? Right, almost. So we have almost covered all the questions. Thank you so much for your time. Hope to see you once again on some other relevant topics of study abroad. But then, yes, at the end, I'll tell you, it is study abroad only with upgrad abroad, because we don't not only help you from or for end-to-end visa assistance, but then, yes, we really help you save a lot of cost. And even that is what is nowadays being promoted by Amitabh Bachchan, and he also says that yes, ये पहले क्यों नहीं लाया गया ताकि मैं भी ये कोर्स कर सकता हूँ. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.